First off, it's Christmas morning, so Merry Christmas to everybody. What I'm going to make this morning for breakfast is biscuits, baking powder biscuits with sausage gravy. So here we have sausage. Now, if you're in the States, you can get some packaged sausage. Jimmy Dean is a good one for there. Over here in the UK, we don't have sausage meat out by itself too often. Usually at Christmas time, they use it for stuffing. So I've got some sausage meat there. I've got some salt. I've got butter, and I've got some shortening, pastry shortening we use for it. Milk, flour, and some baking powder. And that's what we're going to use to make breakfast this morning. And we'll be back in just a second. Now I've gone ahead and cooked the sausage. Crumbled it all up there. Cooked that. Now, depends on how spicy you like it. I added some extra pepper and some chili flakes and stuff to this. Because the sausage here is pretty bland. Okay. And in this pan here, I added about 3 tablespoons of butter and melted it down. Just keep it on low heat, melt it down. And then you need to add about 4 tablespoons of flour to that. And maybe a little bit more, just depends on how much it thickens up. This is going to make your roux for your gravy. Okay, so it's about 3 tablespoons of butter, melted butter, about 4 tablespoons of flour, or add enough flour to make a kind of a sticky roux here. Okay. Now over here, I've added 3 cups of flour. I've got 3 cups of flour in here, about a teaspoon of salt, and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Now we're just going to sift this all together into the big bowl. Get it well mixed. Okay. Now you're going to need a couple other items here. This is a pastry cutter. You use it to cut your shortening into your flour mixture. And you're going to need something to cut out the biscuits with. So this is a regular cutter. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use a couple forks and just keep mashing up your shortening into the flour mixture. You want to end up with a coarse kind of a mixture for your biscuits. Okay, and you can actually use a water glass or something to cut them out with if you don't have a biscuit cutter. Now I've added 2/3 of a cup of shortening to the flour mixture. Okay, and then we're just going to basically just chop it in. Okay, it's going to take a couple minutes, so I'll come right back. Okay, now here's my flour mixture. It's going to be, you're going to have kind of a coarse mixture there. Okay, now we're going to add 1 cup of milk to the mixture. Now you're just going to mix it until all the flour is well incorporated with milk. Make a dough. Now you can use buttermilk for this. Gives a little bit better flavor instead of regular milk. The only thing you have to do if you add buttermilk, you need to add a ½ teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, also called baking soda. This would be like Arm & Hammer if you're in the States. Okay, that cuts the acid in the buttermilk. Okay, there's our dough mixed up. Now when you're doing this, you're going to get to a point where you're going to need to mix it with your hands. So first off, make sure you wash your hands. Add a little bit of flour to your hands. Okay, sprinkle a little bit of flour on top of your dough so it doesn't stick. And just keep kneading it. Just keep folding it. Add a little bit more flour, fold it. You want to get your dough so it's not sticky anymore. Okay, you end up with a ball like that. Okay, and now we're going to roll it out. Okay, there's my ball of dough. Now I've laid it out on a sheet that I use for rolling out pie crusts and stuff. You need to coat that sheet with some flour there so the dough doesn't stick to it. Okay, and then you'll need a rolling pin to roll it with. And we're just going to roll this out until it's about a 1/2 inch thick. Okay, I've rolled that out until it's about a 1/2 inch thick. It's about 10 mil if you're working in millimeters. Okay, and this recipe should be enough for about 12 biscuits. I'm using about a 2-inch cutter, so I make about 12 biscuits out of that. So let me just cut some. Okay, I've cut out about 8 biscuits so far using my 2-inch cutter, and I've taken all the pieces of dough that were left and I rolled it back up again, and I'm going to flatten that back out and cut some more. Okay, there's my 12 biscuits laid out on the baking sheet. Now you're going to put these in a very hot oven. It's going to be about 450 degrees Fahrenheit at 220 Celsius, depending upon where you're at. You need to have the oven already preheated. Now the biscuits are going to cook for 12 to 15 minutes. You just have to keep an eye on them and make sure that they're not going to burn. Now you can keep them separated like this that I have for a crispy biscuit, or you can put them so the sides are touching, which kind of gives you a softer biscuit. Okay, if you stick the sides together, you might end up having to leave them in there a little bit longer. Again, just keep an eye on them, because what will happen is that they'll get done except for the edges, and you'll have to separate them all and let the edges cook. Okay, now this is the pot that my roux is in. Now I've added milk to this, and I've added about 3/4 of a liter of milk. If you're working in quarts, it's about the same amount, 3/4 of a quart of milk. Depends on how much you want to make. Now you need to whisk this up so that you get all of your roux incorporated with the milk. It's going to start thickening up on you. Okay, you're going to watch your heat so you don't burn the milk. I'm making this while the biscuits are in the oven cooking. Again, set your timer for your biscuits for about 12 to 15 minutes. Okay. You'll see this, your roux, make your milk mixture here start to thicken up some. Now if you're looking for a cream gravy mix, this is the same recipe. Basically you make your roux and make your cream gravy. Now if you're doing cream gravy for something like chicken fried steaks, add a little salt and pepper to your gravy itself. If I'm doing it with sausage gravy, I usually add it right to the meat when I'm cooking the meat. And what I'm going to add here, I'm going to add a little bit of Tabasco sauce. Just a splash in there. Spice it up a little bit more. You can leave that stuff out if you like. Okay, this is starting to come up. Starting to thicken. And now we're going to add our sausage. Okay, now you drain your sausage and then just add it to your gravy. Again, keep mixing. See, it's thickening up now. And you get it to the consistency you want. It should still drip, but you notice it's dripping slowly here. Okay, we're going to turn the heat off on that and wait for our biscuits to get done. Okay, these have been in there 12 minutes and they're risen up. Now I'm using a fan assisted oven, okay? Even so, I'm going to leave these in here another couple of minutes and get them a little bit browner. Okay, these have been in there 15 minutes and they're just right. Okay, and what I've done is opened up the biscuits, poured the gravy on top, and served it with some scrambled eggs. As always, thanks for watching and hope you enjoy. Merry Christmas.